So in the last class, we have discussed the two objectives of financial management. The first objective is profit maximization, and second objective is wealth maximization. The brief revision of last class: profit maximization. Okay, all the companies, all the business are started and operated only to earn a profit. All the activities done by the businessman or the employees or the managers or labor, all the activities are done to earn a profit. And always the management and businessmen try to get the more and more profit. So they will always try to maximize the profit. And there are two ways to maximize the profit. One is increase the incomes, revenue, and number two, to decrease the expenses and cost of the operation. As far as profit maximization is objective for each and every organization, but profit maximization can't help a business for a long run. So it's for a short run. It is a narrow approach because we are looking or we are thinking always about profit only. We are ignoring the other aspect of the business. That's why it is a traditional approach. That's why it is considered as narrow approach. And profit maximization have some limitations. There are three limitations. It's a narrow and traditional concept. It ignores the risk and time value, and it's only for a short run profitability. It's never focus on long run profitability. That's why the new hero come in the picture, and that is wealth maximization. Here, wealth maximization means maximizing the net present value of the company. Here, net present value means a present value of benefit minus present value of cost. In short, more benefit and less cost. And then after we have seen that the real owner of the companies are equity shareholders. They are taking the risk, they are bearing the risk. That's why whatever the return is there, that return must be goes to the owners, must be go to the equity shareholders. And lastly, we have concluded from this slide that your wealth maximization means maximizing the wealth of the equity shareholders. And there are two ways to maximize the wealth of the shareholders, and these two ways are to provide a continuous regular dividend. Okay, as the company declares the dividend, the equity shareholders get the money. Okay, and from that money, from that income, they can buy the products and service that are required to fulfill their life needs. And second is the capital gain. We have taken two examples. The first example of Reliance Limited share price, and second we have taken the example of Tata Motors share price in 2015 and in current year. And whatever the difference is there, whatever the increase is there in a share price, that is considered as capital gain. So there are two ways. Number one is to provide a dividend, and number two is to give a more capital gain by increasing the share price in the market. And then after we have looked at to the superiority of wealth maximization over the profit maximization. Suppose this question will ask in a mid examination, in the final examination. Okay, it's having 8 marks. Then you need to write profit maximization, limitation of profit maximization, concept of wealth maximization, and the superiorities of wealth maximization. Why the wealth maximization is more efficient, more superior than the profit maximization. So here few are the reasons. Number one, it is for a long run, whereas profit maximization is only for short run. So for superiority, it's looking for a long run survival and growth of the firm. Number two, in a profit maximization, we are focusing only on profit, but here the wealth maximization, the main object of wealth maximization is to economic welfare or economic well-being of the owners. Owners means equity shareholders. Number three, regular and constant dividend payment to shareholders. In a profit maximization, we don't have that much of provisions that every year company generate the profit and that profit is distributed among the shareholders. Okay, we mainly looking for a profit. Where we are utilizing the profit, that we are never concerned. So in this, we are also concerned about the distribution of profit. Number three, the financial decisions are taken with the view to improve the capital appreciation of the share price. It means each and every financial decisions are taken to improve the share price of the company. If you see the Tata Motors, they have acquired so many companies. Okay, one of the best examples, they have acquired no a big giant company, foreign company. In the history, it was a big deal. Tata Motors have acquired Jaguar Motors, Jaguar cars. Okay, if you still see the Jaguar cars, they have own logos, they have own brand, but now the owner of the Jaguar is a Tata Motors. Tata Motors are manufacturing the same, but they have not changed the brand name because the brand name having that bigger value than the Tata. That's why they have not changed the name or a brand name. But they have acquired that particular company. And by acquiring that company, now you see that trend of the share price of Tata Motors is goes very up. Okay, when they have acquired, it goes very down. But after a few years, it's continuously improving. Okay, and as a shareholders, as an investor, always we prefer wealth maximization instead of profit maximization. So all the shareholders are in a favor of wealth maximization. And last two, already these two are the limitations of profit maximization that are removed here. Okay, number one is it's considered the risk and time value of money. In the profit maximization, it's ignored. Time in a profit maximization, the risk and time value of money was ignored. But here we are considering as a part of calculation. And last one, it's not looking for a short run, it's not looking for a current year or a past year, it's also, it means wealth maximization. This concept is also looking or considering the future aspect. Okay, future case inflows, it means future incomes, future dividend, earning per share, future expenses, growth of the business, everything. So from that all the point of views, the wealth maximization are superior than the profit maximization. Are we clear about the superiority? Okay, maybe the question asked that why wealth maximizations are superior than the profit maximization. Again, you need to write these 4 points. Concept of profit maximization, limitation, concept of wealth maximization, and superiority of wealth maximization. Are we clear up to this, everyone? Okay, moving ahead. In spite of this, all the big parameters of wealth maximization, okay, as you are the good woman, I am a good human being, but also we have some limitations. So each and every point have two sides. Up to this, what we have looked at positive side. Now we are looking for a negative side of wealth maximization. Again, it means the limitation of wealth maximization. So only two limitations are there. The first, it's a narrow in sense. Narrow in sense, it means wealth maximization. For what we are looking? We are looking for wealth maximization of equity shareholders only. Are you getting my point? We are looking for wealth of equity shareholders. We are ignoring the other stakeholders. We are ignoring the preference shareholders. We are ignoring the debenture holders. We are ignoring the other financial institutes, the government, or employees, or the other parties. Those are interested in our business. Those are interested or those are dealing with our companies. So we are ignoring that parties. From that point of view, it's a narrow innocence. And number 3, all the business are using the societal resources, whether it is employees, whether it is environmental elements like is air, water, land. Okay, so as the business using the societal resources, business have a responsibility to give some return to that particular society. So in the wealth maximization, again we are ignoring, or the wealth maximization, the authors are ignoring the wealth maximization of society itself. We are not thinking about from the point of view of society. We are thinking about only from point of view of honors. So there are two limitations. It's a narrow in the sense, okay, it's ignoring the other stakeholders and also it ignoring the wealth maximization of society. So with this, our objectives of financial management are over. If you have any query, any question, please let me know. Okay. So two important questions we have discussed up to this. Number one, decisions in a financial management, the scope of financial management, and second one is objectives of financial management. Already I have discussed this. Okay, no need to discuss this, and this is only for your understanding purpose. Now the last slide of this PPT. Okay, financial management and other disciplines. Financial management and other disciplines. See, some of other subjects are there, those having the similarity, or we can say that the similarities between financial management and other subjects. Now, other subjects are economics, accounting, mathematics, production management, marketing, etc. Let's take one example. In a mathematics, what we are using? Okay, what we are using? We are taking a help of formulas to get the solution. Am I right? In mathematics, we are using the formulas. In a financial management, also we have some formulas. We are using the formula. Just wait for two more sessions. In the third sessions, we will also go for the practical question in which we are using the formulas. So now, are you getting my point? In a mathematics, we have formula. In a financial management, we have formulas. So from that point of view, both the disciplines are same. Now go for the second, accounting. In accounting, what we are doing? Okay, we are recording the transactions, we are preparing some accounts, we are preparing some tables. Why we are preparing the tables? Why we are preparing the accounts? Why we are preparing the accounting? Why we are preparing profit and loss account? Yes, those are in online class. Please answer me. Why we are preparing profit and loss account? Okay, to know the financial position, my dear, you are right. We are preparing the financial statement to know the financial position. I am talking about only one particular statement or account, that is profit and loss account. Why we are preparing profit and loss account? Yes. Okay. We are preparing profit and loss account to know the profit or a loss during the year. Okay, for a particular company. From 1st April to 31st March, we record all the transactions, we record all the incomes, expenses, and by calculating or by deducting all the expenses from the incomes, we are get to know the profit or loss. In a financial management, we also prepare the table. We also prepare some accounts to know the profit from that particular project. Suppose we have a project to construct the building. We have a project to invest in XYZ securities. So when we have 2 projects, 3 projects, we need to compare the profit and we are calculating the profit. So ultimately in financial management, in accounting, we are doing the same. We are preparing the tables to know the profit. In accounting, we are interested in a business profit. In a financial management, we are interested in profit from a particular project. Now see the economics. In economics, we have some thumb rules. We have some thumb rules like rule of demand and supply, rule of demand and price. Can you tell me the rule of demand and price? Okay. If the other factors are remain same and the price of the product will increase, then the demand of the product will decrease. And reverse to that, if the price of the product will decrease, then the demand of the product will increase. Are you agree with me? Everyone, are you agree with me? Okay. Now, one of the web series might you have seen, and that is came 1992. Okay, Harshad Mehta scheme. In that web series, one of the famous dialogue of Harshad Mehta is that. Do you remember the dialogue? हर्षद मेहता ने उस सीरीज में एक बहुत अच्छा डायलॉग बोला. यस, द डायलॉग इज रिस्क है तो इश्क है. व्हाट इट इंडिकेट? द मोर रिस्क मोर रिटर्न, less risk less return. It means it's a thumb rule of financial management. It's a thumb rule of financial management. If you are in a position to take a more risk, definitely you will get more return. And if you are not in a position to take a risk, or you are not risk taker, okay, you will get the less return. Return from the bank FD and return from the share market, both are different because both have a different level of risk. So are we clear? Similarly, we have production management, marketing, HR. So I'm not going for that discussion also, okay? But I hope so. Now this entire slide is clear that how these other disciplines are related with the financial management. And now surprise to you, this slide, this point is not in your syllabus. Okay, I have explained to you for your fine knowledge, for your understanding purpose. Okay, so if somebody asks in a near future, okay, suppose you are going for interview somewhere, and somebody asks that, is there any relationship between the financial management and HR management? The answer must be yes. Some similarities are there. Okay, like this. So with this, our main theoretical parts are over. Now we are moving for the last part of the first unit, theoretically, not a practically, but theoretically. Now my question to all of you: you have completed your graduation right now, okay, after a 1 year or after 1.5 years, okay, and then after you have joined the Marwadi University for MBA, and you have completed your MBA with the finance specialization, and now you have appointed as a finance manager of a particular company, suppose ABC company. Okay, so can you just list out the role and responsibilities that you need to perform as a finance manager? Which roles and responsibility functions you need to perform in that particular company? आपको वापस से रिपीट करता हूँ, आपने ग्रेजुएशन कर लिया है, मास्टर डिग्री कर लिया है, आपका स्पेशलाइजेशन फाइनेंस है, और आप एक कंपनी के फाइनेंस मैनेजर हो. एज अ फाइनेंस मैनेजर आपको क्या क्या करना होगा, कौन कौन से रोल आपको प्ले करने होंगे, क्या क्या आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होगी, क्या क्या टास्क आपको असाइन किए जा सकते हैं या आप किसी को असाइन करोगे एज अ फाइनेंस मैनेजर. प्लीज राइट डाउन योर आंसर्स इन अ चैट बॉक्स वन बाय वन. एज अ फाइनेंस मैनेजर, what should you do? One by one. Okay, only Vishnu has answered the question. लगता है बाकी सबको इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है कि मुझे कोई फाइनेंस मैनेजर बनाए. ओके, ओके, वेरी गुड. Managing finance for all the sectors and deliver on time. Here, Vishnu, my dear, the all sectors are not a proper word. All departments. Okay, manage the finance for all departments. Budgeting, right? Devanshi. Make a sufficient use of finance to make a more profit. Very good, very nice. Shreya, budget, yes, budgeting. Shruti, financial reporting, management of financial resources. And Krupali, position of business. Okay. You have any answer?
and to make sure that the finance and the capital which is in the business is used efficiently.
Okay, efficient use of resources, financial resources. Okay. Traditionally, let me go for a next slide. Traditionally, the finance manager act as a controller of the money, controller of the finance. So as a controller, he need to play only two roles. He need to do only two functions. First function, from where we can get the money, from where company can get money. It means procurement of funds, procurement of capital. And second function, as per the traditional approach, is utilization of resources. Only two functions are there in a traditional approach. One, कहाँ से money मिलेगा और कहाँ पे use करना. But in this modern financial management, according to the modern approach, the scope or a role of the finance manager is not limited to only these two aspects. These two aspects are there, basically. Definitely, these two are there. But except these two, other roles are there. That's why now we need to act as a facilitator. We need to provide various facilities to the company, to the other employees, to the other departments. And now see the list. He need to make a provision for capital or a provision of capital, provision of equity capital, a preference capital, debt capital. Now he need to maintain the relationship between company and investors. Here investors are bankers and financial analysis and financial institutes, government also. So now it's a role of finance manager to maintain this relationship. Number two, he also need to arrange the short-term finance. Here short-term finance means working capital. If you see the traditional approach, we are not never thinking about the working capital. But now in the modern area, you need to think about the day-to-day requirement of the company. Now see the next. Finance managers have to maintain all the records related to banking and custodies. It's his role or her role to do this. Number two, credit and collection. If you see that one company providing 15 days credit, one company providing 1 month credit, third company providing 2 months credit, this credit is decided by finance manager. As a finance manager, you need to decide that how many days we need to go or we need to give to the customer to pay the bills. So the credit and collection policies are decided by the finance manager. It's her role or his role. Next is insurance, general insurance, insurance. Next, okay, investment, short-term investment, long-term investment, everything he need to plan. He need to take actions. Next, planning for control and reporting and interpreting the reports. We need to think about the future aspect of the company also, that in next 1 year, in next 2 years, in next 3 years, what are the requirements specifically from the point of view of finance, that how many capitals, how much capital is required for X months and growth. And if we have taken some loans, if we are using right now some other financial resources, he need to prepare that particular report, or he need to analyze or interpret the report prepared by the accounting department, that we have taken a loan of rupees 5 crore, where we are utilizing that 5 crore rupees. So he need to look up about that one. Okay, evaluating and consulting. If the accounting department are showing that we have used this 10 crore rupees for this plan, so now finance managers evaluate that and consult with the accounting department or engineering department. This is too much high. We have estimated only 2.5 crores. Why there are 3 crores for that particular plan? So that function is also done by the finance manager. Now next. I don't think so any explanation is required for this. Okay, tax administration, tax planning, all the tax planning and administration done by the finance manager itself. Government reporting, whenever the government required any reports, finance manager is responsible to provide that particular report. Protection of assets. Okay, suppose we have mortgaged our one machinery to for a government loan or for a bank loan. So now his responsibility to protect these assets. Okay, protect the assets not from the external factors, from the point of view of financial factor. That company must pay the installment on a regular basis. That's why the bank cannot withdraw their machineries or assets. Okay. Next, economic appraisals. We need to also look at to the economical aspects, social aspects, and government influence on the business from the point of view of finance only. We are not thinking about the overall impact on a business, but from the point of view of finance, like as demonetization, like as implementation of GST. So these are the economic appraisals or laws that implemented by the government, but the role or the responsibility of finance manager is that he need to look up about this one. Production management or production manager is not responsible to look at that what will be the impact of GST on our company. HR manager is not responsible again for this. Okay, so now it's a role of finance manager. Next, managing the fund. I don't think so. Any explanation is required for that. And measuring the returns. Already we have discussed that. Okay, where before going for the investment, we think about the three parameters: time, risk, and return. So here the third one, return. Cost control, price setting. Okay, in cost controlling, in the price setting, every aspect he need to advise the managers, other managers. He need to advise the board of directors about the same. And the last slide, forecasting profit and forecast case flow, future case flow. Okay, so he is not only worry about the present profit for the current year profit, he also responsible or he need to think about the future profit also. Forecasting profit means evaluating the future profits, the profit after 5 years, or profit after 10 years, profit after 2 years from that particular project, or estimating the future case inflows. So this is the long list. If you see, there are 8 to 9 slides, and each slide we have 3 points. Okay, so probably there are 16 to 18 points I have mentioned in this PPT. You are not supposed to write each and every point in examinations. You are required to write maximum 10 points and minimum 8 points as per the question. If the question we have in 4 marks, then 4 to 5 points are in. If we have a question of 8 marks, then 8 or maximum 9 points are enough to explain the answer. But don't write like this. Okay, forecasting profit. First point, to collect the relevant data and make a forecast of a future profit. Not in a one line, you need to explain this forecasting of profit in 3 to 4 lines. Are we clear about this one, everyone? Hello. Hello, my voice is coming to you. Okay. Okay. Okay, one more thing, that in your mind some points are there which are not written here. You may explain that point also, that budgeting or capital budgeting, managing the finance, acquiring the finance, okay, proper utilization of finance. You may write here, this is a open-ended question. This question is not limited to only these points. You need to write any 8 points, whatever you will feel that these are right from my side. Okay, so with this, our theoretical part of Unit 1 is over. In a theoretical part, again I will explain the concept of financial management, decisions in a financial management, also be known as a scope or a function of financial management. Number 3, objectives, and number 4, role. These 4 are the theoretical questions, and yes, we have few more minutes, so we will go for the second aspect about the first unit. Now please open your book, everyone, open your book and write down the next title, because from the next point we have practical questions. Actually in syllabus we don't have that parts, okay, part 1 and part 2 in unit 1, but for a better understanding I have divided the entire unit in 2 parts. Part 1 it means theoretical part, and part 2 means practical part. Open your book and write down the title, time value of money. Write down the title, time value of money. Shortly we known as TVM, and some of authors call it time preference for money. Again, I humbly request all of you to please prepare a separate note for financial management, because in this subject we have some theoretical points, we have some numerical. Then time value of money. These 4 points we need to understand: the concept of time value, compounding method, discounting method, and annuity method. Okay, please take a screenshot. Please take a screenshot of this slide, because we are using these short forms in our practical questions. I will share this PPT to you, don't worry. Okay, but meanwhile we are going for a practical questions, so it's not possible to that go to the Google Classroom and again open the PPTs, and it will time your time will waste. So it's better to have a screenshot whenever it is required. Go to the gallery and open it. So here PV stand for present value, FV stand for future value, R stand for rate of interest, N stand for number of years, P stand for principal amount, NPV stand for net present value, and CT stand for cash flow. Okay, these are the short forms. Don't worry, when we go for the practical questions, we will use this so you easily remember this. Okay, now the concept of time value of money. Before going for the description about this slide or a time value of concept, let me start with one practical example. See, suppose you have a 10 rupees currency note right now. Okay, you have 10 rupees currency note right now. From that 10 rupees, how many pens you can purchase? A simple pen. How many pens you can purchase right now from that 10 rupees note? Right now, my dear. Right now, as of now, the simple pens. Huh. Are you sure? Everyone. अभी मैं आपको 10 रुपीज़ का एक नोट दूं, करेंसी नोट, तो वो 10 रुपीज़ में से आप स्टेशनरी में से कितने पेन परचेज कर सकते हो? I am waiting for your replies. Devanshi, are you sure? I am talking about 2021. And I am not talking about the bulk purchase. I am talking about the retail purchase. If I go to the stationery and if I ask for a simple pen, okay, I don't have that pen, otherwise I will show you. Okay, Devanshi said 2, Jyoti said 3. If I ask for a simple pen to a stationery shop, he will give me a 3 pens, right? Generally we have SS pens. Okay, SS pens are available within 3 rupees per pen. 3 rupees per pen. So with this 10 rupees, you can buy a 3 pens in 2021. Now go to your past, go to your school days. In standard 9th and 10th, your father is was give you 10 rupees and you need a pen. How many pens you can buy in 2017-18? In 2017-18, I am talking about 4 years, 3 years back. Okay, in 2017, okay, or in 2018, you are in a position to buy 5 pens, okay, with the same 10 rupees currency note. You getting my point? If I have a same currency note in 2018, I am in a position to purchase 5 pens. Okay. Now, if I have a same currency note, I am in a position I can buy only 3 pens. So what it represent that? The currency value of this 10 rupees remains same. Remain same. 10 rupees not means 10 rupees not. But as the time pass from 2018 to 2020-21, the value of money is declined, was declined. How we can say that? Because with the same rupees note, we can buy a 5 pence, but now we can't buy that 5 pence. So what it represent? It simply say that the value of money is declined. Now look at the 3 years in the future. Suppose I provide the same currency note to you in 2025. Can you tell me estimately? I'm not saying that exactly, but estimately how many pence you will get in 2025? I am 100% sure you will never get a 3 pence within 10 rupees. You may get 1 pen or you may get 2 pence, max 2 pence. Am I right? So what it represents from 2018 to 2015, the value of money is declining. And that's why this concept come in the picture, and that is called time value of money. Okay, before going for the further discussion, let me ask one more question. Now you are in the 3rd semester. Okay, 4th and 5th and 6th. After 1.5 years, you will complete the graduation. Now, suppose I am offering two options. Right now, I am giving you 10 lakh rupees. Suppose right now, as on 21st July 2021, I am giving you 10 lakh rupees, and I am promising you that you will complete your graduation. After the completion of graduation in 2023. In 2023, I will give you a 12 lakh rupees. I will give you 12 lakh rupees. Right now, I will give you 10 lakh rupees. After 1.5 years, I will give you 12 lakh rupees. Which amount you will prefer? Which amount you will prefer? 10 lakh rupees right now or 12 lakh rupees after 2 years? My question to all of you, जितने भी क्लास में प्रेजेंट है सबको आंसर देना. अगर जिसने आंसर नहीं दिया उसको नहीं मिलेगा. Yes, everyone, quickly, my dear. क्वेश्चन इज वेरी सिंपल. अभी मैं आपको 10 लाख रुपीज दे रहा हूं और 2 साल के बाद आपको मैं 12 लाख रुपीज दे रहा हूं. आप कौन सा प्रेफर करोगे? जो अभी मैं दे रहा हूं 10 लाख रुपीज या 12 लाख रुपीज आफ्टर 2 years? Devanshi said 10, Vishnu said 10, Rupali said 10, Meet said 10. Okay, Sivraj and Meet Mehta both are in a favor of 10 lakhs. Almost all the people are saying that we prefer a today 10 lakh rupees. Okay, nobody is in a prefer of 12 lakh rupees. But suppose if I ask the same question in the first session, what will your answer? If I ask the same question in the first session before discussing anything about the financial management, which amount you will prefer? Definitely you will prefer 12 lakh rupees because at that time you are not aware about this concept. Okay, and you are what you are comparing that 12 lakh rupees are more than the 10 lakh rupees, so we will wait for 2 years. Okay, but now we are preparing this 10 lakh rupees because you know that whatever the goods and services we can buy with this 10 lakh rupees right now, we can't buy the same goods and services after 2 years with 12 lakh rupees. You're getting my point? And that is all about time value of money. Now look at to the slide. The concept of time value of money implies that the value of money depend upon time when it is received. The value of money is depend upon time. Number 2, the simple concept of time value of money is that the value of money received today is more than the value of the same amount of money will receive after a certain period. Okay, in a future period. It means today rupees are higher than the future rupees. Always and always. That is the concept of time value of money. And money received in the future is not always or as valuable as money we are receiving today. So right now today हमें जो वैल्यू मिल रहा है या जो मनी मिल रहा है वो ऑलवेज मोर वैल्यूएबल है एज कंपेयर टू फ्यूचर. Why? Due to these reasons. Maybe for inflation, maybe due to preference for a current consumptions. किसी ने बोला था कि सर फ्यूचर तो अनसर्टेन है. किसी का मैसेज था because yes, Vishnu said future is uncertain. So Vishnu is preferring current consumption instead of future consumption. Risk is there, investment opportunities are there. Right now I have so many opportunities. What happened after 2 years? I don't know that whether I have that much of opportunities are there or not. So due to these 4 reasons, we need to think about the time value of money. No sir, 10 lakh shares value after 2 years it will 15 lakh. Yes, my dear Vishnu, this all we are discussing is in this slide. Okay, I agree with you, but it may happen that the share price of the company will decline after 2 years and you may suffer a losses. But ultimately our concept is time value of money is depend upon time, and as the time pass, as the time gone, the value of the money will decline. So I think so now the concept of time value is clear for everyone. Okay. Now you may compare your past purchase. Okay, whenever you are going for a shopping, at that time if you have 2,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. Now you can compare this quantity that you are purchasing within 2,000 rupees or within 5,000 rupees or within 10,000 rupees, and you may compare the same quantity right now. That if you have 2,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 right now, can you get the same quantity? No. Okay. That's why it's a time value of money. And believe me, only commerce students are know this. Science students and art students are not aware about this magic of time value of money. Okay, so this all from my side about the time value of money. In the next class, we go for a few remaining concept of time value of money, and then we go for the practical question. I request all of you to please write your enrollment number. Those are writing the name and divisions in the chat box. All of you are considered as absent. Already I told you that my system will accept only numbers. So you are supposed to write only enrollment number. You are writing the name and divisions. Your attendance will not consider or will not accept it by my system. So by system, you are considered as absent in a class.